Beach Boulevard, episode 1. Today we're going to be talking about boxing, one of my favorite pastimes. And, I just don't think we see the mano-a-mano matchups like we used to see back in the days. Now, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Lennox versus Tyson. Countless, so many that you can go back and think of, but the boxing world has kind of changed from a competitive, don't get me wrong, there's still competition, but it's shifted more from competition to finances. Everybody's trying to make the biggest payday, and sometimes that means going away from competition to fight somebody who you know is not as equal to the A-side fighter, but because it's a bigger payday, that's the fight that we see in front of us. But one of my dream matchups, the one that I'm most interested in seeing now, which has not been set or official in any way yet, is Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. That's my dream matchup. Both guys, top of their game. Terence Crawford, 32, Errol Spence, 29, 30, I think. So the age gap is, they're still in their primes. And I think that this will be the matchup that reignited boxing. The reason I think, now I'm going to go into what I think each fighter's strengths are, what each fighter's weaknesses are, what I think they are. I know other people may have a different opinion, and I would be happy to hear that. And then I'll say at the end who I think is going to win the fight. Errol Spence, obviously the young gunner, or I guess he can't even consider him that young anymore, but the true Spence nonetheless, top of the welterweight division. Just came off a win against Sean Porter. I happened to be at that fight too. I got a chance to go to it for my birthday. It was a nice experience. And that fight was definitely one of the best fights that I've ever seen. Live, television, recorded, whatever. Definitely one of the best fights I've ever seen. And Sean Porter showed that he wasn't no slouch either, which I thought a lot of people thought that he would come in there and kind of get wiped out. And he put up a hell of a fight, and some people may even think that he won. I won't go that far and say that he won, but I think he gave himself a chance to further his boxing career and get some more notable fights because of that. But based on the fight, like from round 1 to round 12, it was action-packed. And I boxed a little bit myself, had a few amateur fights. So when I see fighters go round for round, punch for punch, for 12 rounds, is still pretty crazy to me. Because I know what kind of work ethic, or I can imagine what kind of work ethic they had to put in to get to reach that stamina. And you saw it in each guy's face, like neither guy thought that they were going to lose that night. And I know that it went to Errol Spence, but Sean Porter is a hell of a warrior. But yeah, from round 1, I expected to be some type of fill-out stage. So round 1 comes action-packed. Round 2 comes action-packed. Round 3 comes, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna fight for 12 rounds like this. But sure enough, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think Sean Porter won about five rounds. And of course, with that knockdown that Errol Spence got, I think in the 11th round, he kind of tipped the scales and he earned himself the W. Which, I mean, had it not been a knockdown, I really wouldn't have been mad had it gone to Sean Porter's side. But because of the knockdown, I think it was just enough to edge Errol Spence in the victory column. But yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite fights to watch all time. And I think that's a testament to the type of fighter that Errol Spence is, that he was able to withstand that kind of pressure, keep going, outlast it, make it look almost not easy, but he was comfortable. He wasn't uncomfortable at all. And there's a few things about that I think will make, obviously, the matchup with Terence Crawford an amazing fight. And I think back on Terence Crawford's fight, his last fight. I can't remember the name, some crazy name, but he wasn't a slouch either. He definitely wasn't the same caliber as Terence Crawford, but he was by no means a slouch. And the reason I bring those two fights up is because I felt like the type of fight that Sean Porter brought Errol Spence is the type of fight that Terence Crawford went up against in his fight. All come forward, I'm not backing down. We're gonna see who lands the better punches. We're gonna scrap, and at the end of this, may the best man win. So I think Terence Crawford, from his fight, he got knocked down. They didn't call it a knockdown, but you see he has some dog in him too. Errol Spence is not going to be able to walk him down. I know they think that size is a huge factor, but it's not the biggest factor as they might think it is. Now, Errol Spence, I think, is 5'9", maybe 5'10", 72-inch reach. Terence Crawford, 5'8", with a 74-inch reach. I don't think the reach plays that big of a factor either. But I mean, that last fight that Terence Crawford had, the guy was trying to bring him to fight. He was trying to bring it to Crawford, which I never really saw anybody do that successfully early on. And I thought Terence Crawford handled it. He handled it well. Once he was like, okay, this guy's trying to scrap with me, I'm not gonna let him out scrap me. He went straight at him, and he made him look relatively easy later on in the fight compared to what he looked like in the beginning of the fight. So that's what I think. I think that if Errol Spence brings that fight to Terence Crawford, don't get me wrong, Errol Spence is by far a better fighter than that fighter that Terence Crawford fought. But with that style being something that he's kind of walked through before and made it look relatively easy, I'm not as worried about that action-packed style with that Errol Spence to Terence Crawford matchup as I was maybe a few months ago before I saw Terence Crawford fight this guy. But yeah, I mean, Terence Crawford showed how much of a dog he was, because he got knocked down, could have kept backing up, could have danced around the ring, maybe picked his shots. But I mean, you saw the exact opposite. He's like, okay, this guy want to come fight with me. I want to fight too. I'm not using my footwork. I'm not being slick. I'm throwing all punches at you, body, head, whatever. Can you deal with it like I can? And I mean, it's like the clash of the Titans with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, because both of those guys have that in them. And I just think that Crawford, I want Crawford to win. I'm not saying right now whether I think he will or he won't, but I want him to win. Just because I think he's so smart in the ring. He has that IQ in the ring, and he has that extra dog in him that you need to be the top of the game. Errol Spence is smart too. He's really smart. Not at all behind on that category by too much. I think that with his combination of intelligence and his power, I think that may give him a slight edge, because his power mixed with his intelligence is something that you really just can't teach. I mean, the power in itself combined with that intelligence, it's not too many people you'll ever see like that in the game. And to be a welterweight, the primetime division, one of the best divisions ever known in boxing, I mean, it says a lot about him. Now, Terence Crawford, I think, is stronger in that intelligence category, but a little bit weaker in that power category. His ability to box, patience, picking shots, taking shots. I mean, because that's a skill in itself too, because it's not too many fighters who go in there and not deal with taking one or two hard shots, or, I mean, even maybe more than that, but it's a lot of fighters who go in there and get hit with those hard shots and maybe not respond as successfully as these two guys do when that pressure is on. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this fight. I mean, I've been watching these guys for years, and that's the thing that I don't like about boxing either. Now, I mean, I love the sport, don't get me wrong, I love the sport. But it seems like we gotta wait 2 or 3 years to see these guys fight. They've been hyping this up for two or 3 years. I remember they met in some tunnel and Errol Spence confronted Terence Crawford, or Terence Crawford confronted Errol Spence. And that was about 2 or 3 years ago. Now, I know it's not up to these guys. I know it's, like I said, about finances and whoever they manager, Bob Arum and Al Heyman. But I mean, I just don't know how far that boxing will go if it continues to work that way. Because, I mean, we got the UFC out here, and all respect to the UFC fighters are deadly ass fighters. Boxing is deadly too. But I mean, these guys, these are the fights that we want to see when it comes to boxing, because with their hands are so articulate. I mean, you don't get to see with the way that the fighting style has progressed, people putting together punches, figuring out stamina. Everybody's got this formula for stamina now, and it's hard work. Putting in extra work day after day, night after night. And to see two guys at the peak of the game that can really get it on while they're in their prime, I mean, there's a big hope of mine. We also got to talk about Errol Spence car accident, because, I mean, this is only that primetime fight considering he's okay from his car crash. And I mean, I watched the video. I mean, you hate to see somebody go through something like that, and glad that he's okay. But I watched him in an interview afterwards, and he didn't really sound the same to me. Maybe I'm reading into it because I know the situation. Maybe if I had somebody look at an interview before and after, they might not think much of it. But I'm not sure. If he's the same fighter that he was before he got in that accident, then it's going to be an amazing fight. If he isn't, then, I mean, I feel like we're going to watch somebody, get hurt that we don't want to see get hurt. I mean, but that's the name of the game too. But I mean, I just know had that accident not occurred, that wouldn't even be any doubt about what his future was, about being, he got the potential to be the best, one of the best ever. if he keep going at this rate with the tenacity and the hunger. And that's why I think that Terence Crawford, they both got a legacy they fighting for. And like I said earlier, the Clash of the Titans, whoever wants that legacy more is gonna get it. Ain't too many legends in boxing. You could think back, I mean, you know, Tommy Hearns, Robert Duran, I mean, obviously Mike, Muhammad. I mean, it's countless. But to even be mentioned in that same realm as these guys, which I think that this fight could potentially do even at their age, 30, 32. I mean, they got long, if they choose to, they got long careers ahead of them. But even at such a relatively young age, they got a lot to be fighting for right now. And I mean, even with that hunger for that fight that they're gonna be building up for and looking forward to, that's what you can just imagine the hard work that they're gonna put in. Because both guys know who the other one is. I don't think either one of them takes each other lightly. I mean, and you can't in this game, because the second you take somebody lightly, the second you get hurt. But with that being said, I think I can announce who I think is gonna win. All right. I was gonna do a disclaimer, but I can't do disclaimers. I can't do a disclaimer. I'm going with Errol Spence. Like I said, the power, and though his intelligence is high, but not as high as Terence Crawford's, I think the combination of his intelligence and his power and his stamina, though Terence Crawford has great stamina too, I just give that edge to Errol. Constant pressure, mixing up his punches, always having different traps. I just wonder if Terence Crawford switching his stance back and forth is going to make Errol uncomfortable. I really don't feel like it is, because I'm sure he's fought against maybe not the caliber of fighter Terence Crawford is, but a lot of guys who use that tactic. Oh man, as long as you got some familiarity with the tactic, if you're the elite fighter like Errol Spence is, you should be able to adjust to that tactic throughout the fight. Not easy. It's not going to be easy by any means. But yeah, I think I got Errol Spence winning that. Beach Boulevard, episode 1. Check me out.